YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. Look at this beautiful 500 millimeter P-51 from Volantex. You're probably thinking, oh great, another 400 except bigger. Yeah, this one has a brushless motor. Quick detach prop saver. It comes with spare props, 2S lipo, still has the singular, the center mounted servo, squishy tires, give them a grab. Beautiful landing gear doors, steerable tail wheel, guys. We have steerable tail wheel now. I haven't armed it. When you first plug it in, you got to go up, then down, and then that arms everything. But as you can see, this plane has almost all the features of an Ultra Micro, up to and including a beautiful little pilot, which is pretty sweet. We're going to see if it performs as good as we think it can, and we're hoping for the best. By the way, 400 milliamp hour, 25C JST equipped with a regular Hextronics lead, all silicone dipped leads. Okay, so here we go. Beautiful looks. I'm in beginner mode. Give it some throttle. Whoa, lots of rudder authority. Get it in the air, she's there. Barely any elevator response. Look at this, this terrible elevator response. But the thing is flying excellently. Look at this, my elevator is all the way down at the bottom. But look at that, wow. Levels. I'm at like 40%, you can barely hear the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's beeping, but it's obnoxious. So now there is a little bit of vibration, but it sounds like it's like not even flying because there is no noise.
That's crazy.
So as I fly, I can tell you this, I want a lot more elevator control authority, but the thing is doing great. Just remember to use your throttle to help get the plane to go up or down.
Are you in beginner mode?
I'm in beginner mode, yep. So basically when I'm coordinating my sticks, so I put the sticks both this way, when I let go, then it just keeps flying. Obviously that's automatic leveling. So I'm using a lot of rudder. The rudder coordinates the turns nicely. The beginner mode feels very good, except for the absent elevator. And look at this, even when I put the sticks all the way, I gotta give a little bit more throttle, all the way down, I'm able to basically maintain that and it doesn't lose altitude. So they've really tuned the stabilizer nicely, given this being similar to the 400 millimeter Warbird series, except now brushless. Now let's show you a full speed pass. Boy, that thing moves. Not even full throttle yet, guys. Up and over the flagpole. Covers some ground, looks a little bit wonky, but it's definitely manageable. And boy, does it look, I love the finish. That flat olive drab and the bright yellow makes it easy with visibility, even up against a bunch of trees that are green in the peak of summer. And if you look at the bottom, that silver invasion stripes and all absolutely fantastic looking. Trying to make this thing look a little bit more scale in its flight performance, even though it's quite easy to fly. Now also there is a one-touch aerobatic. Let's try that real quick. With the wind now, 50% with the wind, one touch and then pull back on the stick. It has plenty of power to execute the maneuver. That was at 50% stick, guys. Let's do a roll this way. Oh my goodness, you wanna watch your altitude. It did lose a little bit of altitude there. Whoa. Is there an eagle up there?
No, it's just a hawk, I think.
Oh, it's a hawk?
Yeah.
Look at that thing. You sure?
I don't know, but it's gonna eat your plane.
No kidding.
Where is the plane?
So check this out. So press the button. Oh boy, give it throttle if it starts losing itself. Keep in mind, this plane may have a shorter flight time than we realize. Let's try a landing before we even come out of beginner. Oh my goodness, It was like the best landing we've ever had with a Volantex RC airplane. It looked like I actually was flying it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to middle and we're just gonna try again, okay? So give it throttle. There is actual yaw authority on the ground. It really works. Oh, there's too much. And we've now demonstrated the prop saver, okay? Camera crew, there's no throttle cut, so be careful.
Yep.
I just wanna show you how easy this is. And by the way, this thing is resilient. It's got the wiggly, soft foam. It's gonna definitely be good Watch this, rock it in. It's got a little bit more robust snap, okay? So be careful, don't break your motor off. So support the plane and snap it on and you're ready to rock and roll. Let's do a hand launch in mid, okay? So about 50% throttle, wind's coming that way. Give it a little bit of a toss and there it is. So we're in middle mode. I'm wondering if, oh look, it does give me a little bit more elevator.
It does.
So I think it's still auto leveling, let's see. Yep, still auto leveling. Whoa, it lets me go upside down, awesome. That's so much nicer. But also a lot more elevator authority. Now, I don't know if that's just the computer doing that, like it's mixed in, or it's me. I'm gonna try to distinguish real quick here. When I pull back on the stick, it looks pretty computerized to me. I think it's just executing the one-touch aerobatic maneuver. When I pull back, oh, let's try that. That was a pretty good run into the ground sort of thing. You'll notice the prop came off. And so the reason we demonstrate all these crashes when we do these Volantex planes is namely because I can hide behind the fact that I accidentally crashed and pretend that it was purposeful.
In the name of
safety first, yes. Guys. So as you can see, also these props are a little bit more robust than on the 400mm Warbird series. Not only are the prop blades stronger, they're thicker and heavier, but you can barely hear this thing fly.
I know, it's crazy.
Real close-up shot. Clip it on.
Did you
ready to rock and roll.
Scrape any paint or anything?
Nah. Okay, beginner mode. We're just gonna launch. There it is. So the one thing I can say about beginner mode that's nice is if you're a newer pilot, you're gonna be less likely to pull back on the stick and just have it go to the sky, because that's full back elevator. Full back elevator right now, now letting go and it goes downhill just a hair. So one of the things people have problems with on these Volantex planes, let's just go right by us on the runway, okay. Stay right there, is that they will have flyaways because they're not careful as a pilot and they let it get too high. The problem is when you're getting too high, that's usually as a result of needing real estate, because mistakes high is how you're trained to fly. You get a few mistakes high and then you do what you need to do. Look at that relatively tight circle, yeah. And it's doing good keeping up. It's not dead calm, but it's pretty calm. Mm-hmm. So let's go fly over by, let's do a little pole dance for you guys. I just know you always give us good feedback when we do the pole dances for you. So here we go. So as you can see, it's not super windy. We're gonna go inside. I hate the beeping, it is obnoxious. I'm assuming it has something to do with low voltage. I don't care though, because it drives me crazy. Let's see if we can land again. I am in beginner mode, full disclosure. And if we have to, we'll put in another battery out of the throttle, just relax, let it come to the ground. And there it is. Now, that plane is a big step up from what we've seen in the past. I am super excited to be able to share this with you. I have no idea the obnoxious beeping. I don't care because the thing flies good. We're not done flying, just so you guys know. I just want to take a second to point out some of the scale details. Look how delicious this thing is. Now, one of the things you're not going to get in this that you're going to get in an Ultra Micro is the ultra scale details. You're going to still see dimpling on here, okay? And you're going to have these wonky inboard sort of ailerons. Volantex, if you're listening, which I doubt you are, put these things out here where they belong. Give us a servo here and here and throw in some flaps while you're at it, because this plane is on the cusp of perfection given the nature of what we do. Also, I just want to point out the fact we're in the middle hole on the elevator, which means you could technically go to the inside hole and achieve more throws in beginner. So with that, we're going to take back off. I'm going to go to expert, but I'm going to start in beginner just to make sure. Okay, so beginner, all the way towards your belly. Here we go. Just give it full throttle. Don't mess with your rudder. If it's calm, it should be no problem. Okay, so going into the intermediate, no change, flying straight as an arrow, a little bit more throttle, a little bit of elevator. And then we're gonna go to expert. Okay, now we're in expert. Yep, definitely controlling it now. Guys, it's flyable. It's actually flying, not crappy. I am so excited. I am so happy. We have not had a 500mm Warbird from any of the manufacturers we've worked with that didn't suck bad. Yep. This one actually flies good, and it's actually in expert mode, meaning I am in full command and control of all the control surfaces. But I have to say, why do we have to lose a stabilizer on expert mode? Give me the stabilization. Just shut off auto leveling, for God's sake. Okay, now let's see if power is good. Now, I might be waning a little bit on power. So that could be part of our problem. Okay, so full throttle, up and over. Yeah, definitely a little bit wonk. This is where you would want to have expo and rates and all the different things. Okay, so let's do a barrel roll. This is me controlling it. As you can see, very good on the control axis. You got plenty of roll authority. And I gotta say, pulling the trigger back to beginner is easy. So if you guys couldn't tell what I was talking about, I'm pulling this from expert back to beginner, which actually works very helpfully. If you are flying with thumbs on the sticks, you're gonna be able to do that. If you're flying pincer grip, you're probably still gonna be able to do it. I think most people, when you start flying, you're gonna tend to use your thumbs on the sticks. Occasionally people think, hey, I'm gonna do pincer grip style. I make fun of people that use pincer grip, but lots of you guys do, so I'm not gonna make fun of you here. Okay, so in beginner mode, gets it to the ground. Now I gotta say, this plane is closer to hobby grade performance than we've seen on any of the 400 millimeter warbirds. And I have to say, just look at it.
Yep.
Look at how dang gorgeous that thing is. We have seen a lot of ultra micros that are extremely gorgeous. Give them a roundabout. This plane deserves some mucho respect. It is entry level. It is truly a beginner aircraft, and it is truly gorgeous. You don't usually get all three. This is so close to hobby grade that I just can't hardly stand it. It is just so beautiful, and yet it still does all the things that we expect from a 400 like this. I would never do that with an ultra micro because it would break 100% guaranteed.
Yep.
Even this, look, my tail wheel came out, for God's sakes. Look at this, guys. We have a tail wheel on the ground. We have one victim, except it's not, because look, what the heck happened to that? It popped sideways. Look, it's still working, folks. That's what I'm talking about. You can't do that with an Ultra Micro Extreme. Now, where does this differ from an Ultra Micro Extreme? A, size. This is still a little bit smaller, if I recall. Secondly, with an Ultra Micro Extreme, you're gonna get more detailed foam, okay? You're gonna get more detailed canopies and cockpits. You're gonna get more powerful brushless. You're gonna get better batteries. You're gonna get better ESCs, and you're gonna have a lot better transmission protocol, okay? Because if you're in DSMX, you're using Spectrum branded stuff. And at the end of the day, I want this thing to look good, but I also want it to fly as good as possible. If you're a diehard RC aficionado, and especially in the aircraft realm, this plane is probably still not gonna be what you want because you want the best performance you can get. But if you're in that, let's call you the 10% of the upper echelon of people that are super picky about RC aircraft, you can get your Ultra Micro no problem, and so can the rest of us. But the thing is, this plane is gonna hit the entire market if you ask me, because it really does what it says it does, and it does it well, and it's looking dang good doing it. So, Volantex, amazing job. Is it the best thing since sliced bread? It's pretty dang good because it's small, it's cheap, it's resilient, it's gonna tumble. Like, again, I would never, ever, ever do that to an Ultra Micro. I threw it in the living room before we even took off. So if you guys stay tuned, you can watch our Unbox build radio setup. And all I've got to say is, I am super impressed with this. So we're gonna do a hand launch real quick in Expert, now that we know that it can handle it. Okay, so in Expert mode, a little bit of throttle, just to show you that it's still flying. And as you can see now that we're in Expert mode and we know that we can actually get the center of gravity to an appropriate level, you're basically dealing with near hobby grade experience. And look at the ups, folks. The ups are amazing. That's something you can't do in the 400 millimeter series. It's just not gonna be powerful enough. Stay there if you can. Definitely wonk on all the access, but it's flyable, guys. It's not perfect. But the thing is, you could play with where your battery is slightly on this plane. And look how good that looks. Now, if you're gonna use an OpenTX transmitter and you're gonna bind to a different protocol, then that would be where the ticket is. Really, what I want is DSMX, okay? I want this thing to fly on DSMX. I didn't see a plug for it, did you?
I did not.
I don't think we looked.
We did open that hatch underneath. It is more accessible than some of the other ones.
Okay, so now back to beginner. And when I say back to beginner, you guys are probably thinking, but Brian, you're not a beginner. Why are you flying in beginner? Because that's the way the vast majority of people that fly this plane are gonna fly. I think intermediate actually offers something on this plane though. And you just have to understand that when you are a brand new pilot in RC, you are gonna be scared to death flying this thing. Even though it is resilient, it's still scary to fly these things. Now also, I must say, the speed leaves a little something to be desired. I want to be able to slow it down a little bit more. It tends to be a little bit nose heavy right now. Let's see how slow we can fly it. So right behind the camera crew, we're trying to stay out of the sun because it's hot. But just slowing down. The speed is actually not bad, folks. But again, the aerodynamics of this wing type demand that the ailerons are on the outboard portion of the wing. And the inboard portion of the wing should be a flap. So Volantex, you have this thing so close and it's kind of killing me because it's like just right on the cusp of near perfection in RC. And I've got to say, I mean, all things considered, folks, this is not going to be, you know, $1,000 airplane. You know, you're going to have definitely some drawbacks because of the cost component. But it's not like it's bad at all. Also, I just want to show you, if you want to land grass ops, it's going to be kind of weak. I'm going to land in front of us here, camera crew. Okay, so we'll just show you, if you don't have a runway, let's just land it here. Okay, so there you go. So I landed runway, edge and all, and look how hard the repair process is. Let's just step into the shade here and just look at this, guys. Look how hard this repair is going to be. It's going to be pretty easy peasy. There you go. I don't know. I just feel like this thing has missed nothing except for the terribly obnoxious beeping, which we have no clue what means.
Yeah.
And it probably means like land now, you're about to run out of battery. Oh, let's pull off the landing gear. So the landing gear, we normally don't even care about this. They snap off in 2 steps. If you're careful the way you do it, you can snap it off in 2 steps, okay? So you see how there's this thing here? So you're gonna snap up here. Then you can pull these out by pulling forward, okay? It's a little bit awkward.
Can you hold your transmitter?
Nah, okay. I'm gonna have you, well, actually I'll just put these in my pocket.
Okay.
So then I can pull this off. And I gotta say, pulling the landing gear are not hard. And I love the fact that they're squishy, okay, folks? So in terms of performance, I feel like Volantex is hitting on so many of the things that we have complained about in the past. And I gotta say, Volantex is kind of like the real deal. It's like the mothership, okay? It's not like your 5th revision ghouls out there, Ghoul RC or whatever it is. This is gonna be the real deal. They're gonna be competitive with some of the other big brands. By the way, that thing was loose. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'll take a screwdriver and I'll put it in that square right there where I'm pointing, and I'm gonna open that square up just a hair to give us a little bit more friction. And as you can see now, we're clean. We're gonna go into middle. I'm gonna launch. Then I'll show you how it flies. Oh man. Got a little vibration now. See, I just want to flip it over in a barrel roll at the top of the loop, but that's just the one touch. Yeah, it's a one touch. So one touch, hard on the throttle, get it through the maneuver. Now I'm gonna go to expert. Let's see how it flies now that we have the landing gear off. So I gotta say, I'm gonna tend to fly wheels up, wheels down, especially on a Warbird. I feel like they look okay. And this is where your expo is gonna make all the difference. If you set it up on an OpenTX transmitter and you've got better protocol involved, maybe a little better sticks and gimbals, because the gimbals on these cheap transmitters are gonna be a limiting factor no matter how you slice it. So cool, So cool. I was about to hit the house just for an extra demo of destructibility, or indestructibility more in particular.
But that's what we like about these planes, because this isn't your top 10% of people that fly RC. This is kids and people that are getting into the hobby with a limited budget, and they're like, do I even like this?
Or people that want sub 250.
Yep.
And they don't want to spend a fortune for it, and I get that. But the thing is, I can definitely tell you this right now. This thing is actually flying. It's actually flyable on Expert. Is it perfect? No. It is not the experience you're going to have with a Horizon Hobby on Ultra Micro. But it is looking, I would say it's every bit of 85, 90% is good, maybe 95% is good as the Ultra Micros in terms of looks. And we hope that we're able to accurately, here, I'll do a stall turn, there we go. I hope that we're accurately representing this. Now, the other thing is I haven't spent any time trimming, but I don't generally spend a lot of time trimming these unless they're egregiously wrong, because as you know, switching between modes will definitely make a negative impact. But let's go ahead and land it in the front yard. Camera crew, you good? Okay, so just gliding it in. Whoa, whoa. So we're down. All right, there's no throttle cut, but I'm gonna tend to pull this because that's where my throttle cut is. We're gonna walk over to the plane. Okay, so final thoughts. If it weren't for the obnoxious beep, and if it were for, why do I need to shut off the stabilizer? I want the stabilizer on when I'm flying this thing, Volantex, and every other manufacturer that makes these. Sure, make an Expert mode where the stabilizer is off. Whatever, that's fine. But I want an intermediate mode where I can fly this thing with no auto leveling, but stabilizer. That's what everybody else is doing, okay? Give us that feature. Secondly, what are my complaints about the wing type? Put the ailerons where the ailerons belong. You have a good plane. So make it excellent. Put a servo out here, or make some sort of a, you know, make a linkage out here where it can pivot out to do this, and then put some inboard flaps, and this thing is gonna be absolutely fantastic, because I feel like you've hit so many of the high notes that we demand that I don't want to give this thing up. I feel like we're on the cusp of near perfection in the Ultra Micro arena. If you guys want to get one, you can buy one from the links in the video description below. As usual with these Ultra Micros and small helis and things like we do, we'll show the Unbox build radio setup next on this same very video. If you don't like this, if you want to go with the cheaper 400mm Warbird series, we have videos of those as well. Just keep in mind, this is kind of, I almost feel like this is a bit of a culminating experience, because we've gone from okay, gets the job done to it's starting to get pretty good, okay? And it's not starting to get good because I'm a better pilot. It's starting to get good because they're actually finally answering some of the complaints we had. Also, the bigger battery up front means that it's nose heavy, which means the flight controller is still having to keep up a little bit, because it's probably admittedly a little bit too nose heavy, which is why it is sort of wonky on the axis of control. Thirdly, if you want to fly this in beginner, but you just need a little bit more movement, you could take this out. It's going to be hard to do. You have to twist that sideways and pop it out. Then you have to go to the bottom hole. You're going to get more throw on your elevator access. That is going to make it more hard to control in Expert mode. In Expert mode, I almost feel like you could go to the outside hole, but you're not going to want to switch between the in and outside holes. This plane will definitely squeal if you do that. That being said, and speaking of squealing, this thing looks amazing. It flies better than expected, and we are super happy, because when we got some 450s not too long ago and some 500s not too long ago and they flew like crap, I was super disappointed. This thing hits, it checks all the boxes that I want to hit in this price point, in this style, and you guys are gonna love it. And by the way, I gotta say, if there's any other liveries, we gotta get our hands on them, because this thing looks the part. Okay, that flat green olive drab with silver, man, I wish some of the bigger ones had this livery. It is so sweet. And yes, there are instrument clusters in there as well. So we hope we answered all your questions. Here on Brian Phillips RC, as you know, we are long-winded and we have long format, and that's because there's a lot to say about some of these aircraft. They have come a long ways in the 10 years we've been doing it, and they're getting a lot better. And so we hope that you guys can see that we really do truly appreciate and love this hobby. It's not just that we're spending, you know, lots of money to develop an aerodrome here. And as you can see in my backdrop here, there's a pond back here. The pond is the first move toward the dam runway, which is overwintering, and then we're gonna get that started next year. But also at the end of this fall, if you guys didn't already know, we're building our dam gift shop next, which is gonna be a large hangar / agricultural building that's gonna be over next to the dam. So hence the dam gift shop, in case you guys have never seen National Lampoons. Where's the damn gift shop? Anyway, all right, now you know. If you didn't already know, that's why we keep saying that. This is the main runway, 275 feet of pure delight. It's gonna end up being almost 375 feet with a helipad on the end, full-scale helipad. And then there's gonna be a road that goes across the dam road, meaning it's gonna connect the two runways, so we'll have a crosswind strip at 110 degrees of differential. And then we have the main strip up here, which of course is a road. Some people would call it a road. That's 1,220 feet, so it's a lot of road. But with the crown, it's not good for RC, and plus we wanna try to be compliant with the rules as much as possible. And that's the other thing too, guys, compliance. This thing is compliant. It's sub 250, so you can definitely fly it, and it's gonna be an amazing experience. So you don't have to worry about it if you take it to your local park, like they're gonna come out and throw you in the pokey. If you're into the pokey and you're watching our full-length videos and you're watching, make some toilet wine in the background, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Don't get caught. We don't want you guys getting kicked out of the prison, because then you can't watch any longer. Or at least you'll watch short. You'll just watch the parts you want, like most people. And that leads us to our last question, and that is, we have a question for you. And that is, will you support us? The question of will you support us comes in 5 different ways. The easiest is to buy these amazing airplanes. Buy them when you like them. You don't have to buy the ones you don't like. And if you don't like this one, go to brianphillipsrc.com. You can check by type, brand, affiliate, and whichever direction you want to go, you can compare and contrast this to the other one you have in mind. So when you find something, then just jump over to Brian Phillips RC, find the video, and then when you click on the links, you can either buy it there or you can follow it and compare and contrast the airplanes that are in question. We do that for a reason, because we know our long format content is hard to find because there's so much of it. There's like 2,000 some odd videos plus on Brian Phillips RC on YouTube here. You can, of course, search by playlist, or you can go to Brian Phillips RC and see this right next to its competitive offering, which is nice, because we don't care if you buy it from Volantex or some other Ghoul RC or whatever. It doesn't matter to us. We just want to see you flying. Now, of course they do, and we want to restore and, you know, keep good relationships with different vendors and manufacturers, which is why we also sort by type out there. But at the end of the day, we just want to support the manufacturers that are doing the things that we like, meaning good outcomes for you and for us. Because at the end of the day, I love this stuff. We're not just doing it for show, okay? All right, other ways to support us. Patreon, monthly support, thanks. If you're one of those Patreons, that also gives you a little bit easier access to me for comments, because it's impossible for us to keep up with everything on YouTube. We do our best, but it's still impossible. Secondly, we have YouTube super thanks, one-time donations, and YouTube members. We appreciate you guys being members on YouTube as well. That is also helpful, but it is also the most expensive in terms of fees, if you guys are curious about that. They keep like 30%, okay? It's pretty egregious, 35%. It's asinine, but whatever. Yeah. The point is, there's different ways to support us. The lowest cost basis and the most direct benefit to your back pocket and ours, and our goals, which is to get people to fly, is to buy airplanes, radios, transmitters, weed whackers, and leaf blowers when you see them reviewed on Brian Phillips RC, because that is the best way for us to keep good relationships, not restore, but to maintain good relationships with different vendors that want to sell stuff to you. And also, we can still tell the full truth and nothing but the truth, so help us God. And we always have, because we don't really care. If they suck, we just tell you. So if they work with us, they're pretty proud of their products because they know we're going to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. All right, so, and then the last way, PayPal. If you don't, there should be no fees because we're just friends and families. Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of this little aerodrome project that we're doing. When I say little, I mean it's probably going to be a 3-year project from when we started to when we finish, I'm guessing. But that doesn't really technically include the main runway, so that would be closer to like 7 years. So if you guys are serious about supporting us, we're serious about taking it, because every dollar that comes in, we're multiplying it and spending it quicker than we can make it. So stay tuned. So much more from Brian Phillips RC. And yes, definitely Unbox coming next. Watch it. YouTube with Brian Phillips. Okay, we've got the family here. It's amazing. Youngest, oldest, and there's some girls that are sleeping somewhere. I don't know. Okay, so this is a Volantex 500 millimeter. It's all new, brushless motor, removable landing gear, still crashable, quick release prop, all the different features you've come to expect, including squishy tires, squeeze the tires, squish, squish, and something new, steerable tail wheel. Only after it's been activated, it will work, okay? Very good, and stabilizer, flight controller, all that stuff. We're gonna have Andrew fly, and I'll give you the reins. Do you wanna go wheels up, wheels down, or do you wanna go up and down the driveway? Come on over here, bud. Okay, so guys, this is gonna be the real kid flight.
Okay.
Uh-oh, you broke it. See, then we're gonna show you the whole process. The reason that these planes are so awesome is that basically when you have a problem like that, which was easy, right?
Yep.
Then all you have to do is snap it back on. You do it. And this isn't even the expert. It's just the regular kid can do this, no problem. So the other thing too is when you're getting ready to fly, Andrew, remember, give it throttle, let the wheel pull up, and then just once it's in the air, pull full back elevator. Yep, he's done it again. We'll pause.
Yep.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna try again. There you go. Pull back all the way on the elevator. Get it in the air once you're in the air. See? Now the beeping has already started. It's super obnoxious. What do you think?
That's a lot more power than the smaller one.
Yeah, no kidding. Were you reserved on your power? Is that why you didn't get in the air?
Possibly.
Is he in beginner mode?
He's in beginner mode. So now intermediate mode will let you flip upside down with the elevator, but it's only going to initiate a one-touch aerobatic flip. So it's not actually full control of the elevator. Why don't you bring it down so we can get out of that blue? There you go. Most kids that are flying don't have to try to keep in camera range, but our kids do. Look at that. That is beautifully slow and beautifully fast. Coordinate your turns if you want it to look good and present those beautiful olive drab colors. And just trying to stand close to you so you can talk if you want to. How does it feel compared to the 400?
I like it. It's bigger. Feels a little bit heavier.
Yep.
Because it is. More power.
Are you in intermediate now, Andrew?
Yeah.
Now, if you really want to see how it feels, go a couple mistakes high and go to expert. You'll be surprised. It's one of the few that's not wonkadelic. Isn't that crazy? You can actually fly it.
Yeah.
Now, it's not perfect. It's definitely like ultra micro good, but it's definitely got controllability. You can fly the thing.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, our little kid is not going to be flying in expert. Also, when you need to go back, oh, look, the bird's trying to attack it. When you need to go back, all you have to do is pull that trigger back, which is actually a switch.
Yep.
You see? So they've got the switch orientated in the correct direction, so it's easy to get back to normal beginner mode or intermediate mode. You want to try landing?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you an expert still?
I'm in intermediate.
Intermediate. Okay, try landing it. It's actually lands. Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
You did a
good
tail
job.
slide. So cool. So now I think we should have your little brother try it, and then we'll see how he does. Now, keep in mind, guys, you can also hand launch if you have trouble with taking off, because wheels up, wheels down on these are achievable, but on the old ones, it was like almost near impossible because they would just wonk everywhere, right? And the landings were terrible. That doesn't mean it's not a good plane. It's just, that's true. Okay, so we're gonna pause, reset, and come back. All right, so what we're gonna do for the littlest kids, are we're gonna go to beginner, make sure your switch is all the way back towards your belly. I'm gonna throw this and hand launch it. I'm gonna get it flying for him. He could probably do it, but just for the sake of the camera, we're gonna go ahead and give it about 50, 60% throttle, give it a nice toss, get into the throttle, fly it around, get them comfortable with what's going on. I'm gonna go several mistakes high, and we're gonna go out where we get a long ways. Now, are you ready for this? Okay, here we go. Go ahead. There you go. Just do it like normal, bud. And now he's flying. Keep it close, okay? Don't go over the trees if you can avoid it. Good job. So now, when you have kids that are learning to fly, set them up for success. Hard on the elevator, good job. Set them up for success as much as you can, because when they crash, it's gonna be easier to deal with. Okay, throttle cut, good job. Throttle's all the way down so you don't cut your fingers. You're probably not gonna cut your fingers, and all we have to do now is go get it out of the grass, which we'll go do that. Okay, so we're just walking out in our weed field, also known as hay, supposed to be hay. And what you're gonna do is careful where you stomp, because look, we gotta find the prop. So pick it up, show the camera crew. Now, right here is the prop. So that's gonna be the worst part of crashing this plane. Let's walk over and show the people how much damage we actually experienced. Because at the end of the day, if you can fly a plane and you can fix a plane in seconds, do you wanna try putting this on, bud?
Yeah. I put props on like this before.
Okay, try it. You gotta kind of catch the edge and then rock it on.
It's a little harder.
It's a little harder
than your
start
other ones.
one side. Just start the far side, like this. There, now try. Good job, you got it. So now after a couple of shots, he's gonna be ready to go. He's gonna be having a good time. And it's a true family-friendly experience. You're not talking about a huge financial outlay for something like this. And when you're ready to progress to something a little bit more big, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more dangerous, you're gonna be able to do it with confidence. Because here on Brian Phillips RC, we want you guys to find success in all the RC that you do, okay? So watch first, make your decisions based on what you see here and what you feel is true. But at the end of the day, we think this is pretty awesome. It's a huge stride in the right direction from Volantex RC. So what do you think, Caleb?
I like it.
He likes it. He likes it. Okay, good. Well, what kid wouldn't? Believe me, there's kids that wouldn't, guys. We got to make it as easy as possible because playing tablets is really easy and flying RC is not. Stay tuned. So much more right around the corner.
But I'm really only thinking about one control surface at a time because I'm not that good of a pilot, okay? So I'm just turning. You can go a little bit up elevator, but see my thumb, Laura? I'm not even touching the throttle or the rudder over here, okay? You don't want to get too far away from yourself. The beeping is kind of distracting, but if you want to go up or if you want to go down, I'm going to turn and go up at the same time, okay? Since I've kind of got it going in this circle, come stand right next to my elbow, and I'm going to hand you the controller because it's going the speed it's going to go. All you're going to do is worry about your right thumb, okay? Can we try that? And if it goes terribly wrong, it's going to hit the ground and the pop is going to pop off and Caleb's going to go find it and we're going to put it back on. And that'll be the end of it. I'm gonna come back so we're closer, so we're over on our property. Because Andrew probably can't even see it over there in the camera at all. Let me do one more loop and I'm gonna try and get you a little bit lower and a little bit closer. I'm gonna stay right here.
Start her from way at one of the tree lines, so she has plenty of time to think about
So you put your hand on that side. Don't worry about the, okay, so now just right, push it to the right, push it to the right. Good job, that's right, up, there you go. Keep pushing it to the right, good job. See, you're doing it. You don't have to worry about anything else. Now go to the, up, oop, here, there you go, there you go, there you go. Got it, totally fine. It'd be easier if Andrew was the one on, not the camera and on the whatever immediate recovery, but that's okay, we got it back.
If you drop the phone, drop the...
Good job. All right, we'll see if I can land it.
Just come in and then just kind of glide. It glides for a long time, but then it kind of falls out of the sky.
Yeah.
And if you drop the phone...
Trying to not have to go get it too far. Oh, good enough. Okay, you want to pause, Andrew?
YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this box right now. It's gonna be amazing. We have labels from all over Timbuktu. You guys have already seen it fly, so hopefully it was awesome. But future me says, yes, it was. We're gonna find out how it comes out of the box right now. Okay, so all new from our buddies at wherever that is, the place that does things. Volantex.
Yep.
Volantex RC. Oh yeah, look at that. Is this a P-51? It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, that's a P-51.
It is.
Amazing. So it's got the X-Pilot gyro system, 1-key aerobatic, fully assembled, and brushless power, folks. All new brushless power. That is new, and that's what I'm excited about. So we're gonna see, this is actually a bigger plane. Now, remember, we did a couple 500s I didn't have especially good luck with. So I'm hoping, look at that. We got
Nice.
2 props. That's pretty sweet. There is a manual in here, by the way. I had to kind of dig mine out.
Oh.
Okay, so we'll have that there. If you guys are brand new to Brian Phillips RC, we unbox and build them and do the radio setup. Sometimes it's a little bit easier than others. These are generally going to be more of a toy grade, but we're gonna find out today because we're getting pretty dang close. And by the way, I must say the fit and finish on this so far look really good. So we're just gonna go ahead and pop this thing out right now, fully assembled. As you can see, it's fully assembled. It's not a jet, so maybe it's not quite fully assembled. But I gotta say, it looks really good. It feels a little bit heavier than like an Ultra Micro, but it's got the more softer foam that you can drop and not break, which is really nice. And that's a big complaint for people with the Ultra Micros that do tend to be more hobby grade. Now, also I'm gonna say is just because you have a brushless power system doesn't mean that your little rinky-dink servos are gonna work. And that is a concern of mine. So hopefully we didn't find out it was terrible when we flew it. But just for fun, that's a pretty good flight, seeing as I just threw it across the room. Now, I would never do that with an Ultra Micro.
No.
Or I also wouldn't do that because the thing is, it would have been broke, okay? So pretty awesome. That's one of the reasons why we like these Volantex planes. I did hear a kind of a noteworthy pop, so I'm hoping it didn't break.
Yeah.
But everything feels like it's intact. Also, steerable tail wheel, right? That's new. We haven't seen that before. So what comes in the package? Well, it comes with some batteries. Oh yeah, look at that. It's a 2S pack. How do I know it's a 2S pack? Because it says 400. It says 2 cells, 7.4 volts, JST connector, so that's good for discharge. And then we have the micro, or excuse me, not the micro, but the Hextronics balance lead, which is pretty cool. And this one must have come with a few batteries, because look at this, guys. Holy cow, we got a bunch of batteries and chargers. Wow. So that's pretty sweet. And then the props. Now, the other thing that's nice about this plane is that the props are quick change. So that's really nice, and they'll save themselves. So I'm gonna show you that right now. How do you put them on? By the way, both are 4-bladed, which is really nice. I like that. The 4-bladed props are pretty. And I'm hoping the additional power works really well. You can see this thing is a little bit bigger than what you're remembering from the smaller versions. It just snaps right on there. It's so quiet. It's really sweet. Should I throw it again? So obviously,
Test the prop saver.
It's not powered, but yeah, the prop didn't break. It didn't even come off, so that's pretty sweet. And I gotta say, I love the flat finish. That's pretty awesome.
I like the livery in general on this one, just for something a little bit different.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to see
I
it
like
fly.
the yellow.
Okay, so getting back to the point, we need to charge batteries. If you haven't ever worked with lipos, you're gonna have to charge this, okay? So normally when you get the 1S packs, you can use one of these chargers like this. That's not gonna work for you on this one because this is 2S, which means 2 cells in series. So we can actually use one of our proper chargers, which is nice. And we'll show you the one that comes with it. And that is if you're getting it in the ready to fly configuration, it's gonna come with this charger. This charger is gonna adapt to a USB adapter. Okay, so you have to provide this if you're going to a wall outlet. There should be lights on one side or the other. Yep, looks like it's on this side. What's gonna happen is you can then plug this thing into the balance lead. It is keyed, okay? Then it goes to a flashing circumstance. I'm gonna use my XBC battery checker, and I'm gonna check the other battery that's in here. It does come with landing gear, which we'll put on in a minute, but I wanna get these batteries cooking. So as you can see, this will plug in there. And you can see we're at 76% or about 4 volts. That's a little bit strange. Typically lipos go to storage voltage at about 3.8 volts. Now, if you guys haven't seen this little Predator ES or Predator version, it's the same as what we've seen from all the other versions. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and look for the negative, which is down here. Line up the black, which is negative. And then this is gonna give us our cell readings as well as the nominal. So altogether it's about 8.05, 4.01 compared to 4.02. And you'll notice that this is less accurate than the XBC checker. So if you get this, it's nice because you can use it to test servos too. And obviously this provided charger will work fine, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you how you can use a more robust, a more sophisticated charger if you'd like to use that. Now, keeping in mind, I use smart chargers, so in this case, I'm using an S2200, which is 200 watts, dual channels. It comes with an IC3 and an IC5, which is nice if you're using all these variety of batteries like this, right? Well, it's not so nice when you're using a JST, except whereas you've got adapters, something like this would be fine, but there's actually a JST adapter somewhere in my pile. Yep, and I also managed to grab the wrong one again. And so at some point, right here, we've got an IC3 to JST. So that's gonna get us, line this up. And you'll notice that the spectrum uses positive as orange, positive as red here, okay? Just verify that real quick. And then of course the balance lead is gonna go right in here. It's gonna populate the screen with your data. It's gonna show your voltage. And that's the third vote for voltages, which are different as well. We're gonna click, we're gonna scroll up to 3.2 amps, and we're gonna change this down to 0.4 amps, okay? Now, if I wanna charge this at 2C, then it's gonna be 0.8, okay? So I'm gonna use the up and just scroll to 0.8, and then I'm gonna press this to acknowledge the entry. Then I'm gonna press down, and I'm gonna hit start. So it already senses that it's 2S, it already knows it's a LiPo, unless we needed to change that, and we could. But in this case, it's gonna start charging. Now I can press down, and I can see all this data. The cool thing about it is you can also, at some point, it'll show you the impedance there between the cells, which is kind of nice, the internal resistance there. So that's pretty sweet. And then I can also use this. This would have been fine. The S155 is considerably cheaper, and it would work, and it would give you all that, but it's just on a really small screen. It's a little harder for us to show. Also, being that this is only 400 milliamp hours or 0.4 amps, it's just not enough current to really get anywhere near the 200 watt requirement, okay? So now back to the landing gear. LiPos, LiPo safety. Two safety issues in planes, props and batteries. Not flying into your eye, believe it or not. It's generally just batteries. If you have a LiPo, it's the most volatile, most chemically unstable thing that you're gonna have with regard to this plane. So just charge them on a hard surface. Don't charge them in bed. Don't charge them when you're gone, and you'll mitigate 99.9% of the risk of lithium polymer packs, okay? So we're gonna get all these bags out of the way. We'll keep these for later use. And let's talk about landing gear, because obviously the landing gear are going to be an optional feature. Now, you don't have to use a landing gear. Oh, and then there's a transmitter in there too. So it looks like our standard Volantex transmitter. This should be pretty standard. Throttle here, yaw for rudder, elevator here, and then ailerons here. And then there's probably like a one-touch U-turn or some such thing. I don't even like that feature, so I'm not gonna talk about it. Trim left, trim right on rudder, trim left, trim right on ailerons, trim up, trim down on elevator, power button, lanyard attachment point, fixed plastic thing that looks like an antenna, but it's not. Okay, so then this button is the aerobatics button. So you'll press that, it'll beep, and then you can execute by pressing down, it'll do a loop. You can press this, and then you can do that, and it'll do a roll, like a barrel roll. And then you can press this and do that, it'll do a barrel roll the other way. And then there's three modes of action: expert, mid, and beginner. So beginner, of course, is towards your belly. Expert is away from your belly. And we're gonna see how that works on this particular platform, okay? We've seen different platforms, different planes. Oh, I just noticed another detail. Look at the instrument cluster, sweet.
Oh, and you have
Pretty
like
cool.
a nice little actual pilot.
Yeah, it's a nice
figure
little
in there.
actual pilot. So that's pretty awesome. Now, just to compare this to one of the 400 millimeter Warbirds, wait, that one's not a 400, is it?
No, it's very similar.
It's very
though.
similar.
Yeah.
So we probably don't want to show that one. But there are a lot of different 400s. There's some that are 450, and there's now this one here, which is going to be in the 500, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Does it say 500 on here anywhere?
Does
yeah,
it?
500 millimeters.
Yep.
There you go. And they evidently have a plug and play offering too. We don't know anything about that. We don't typically do plug and play offerings.
The nice thing is though, if you order it through the link that's in the description, you can get spare parts from them if
Yes.
you would need more props
Yes.
later, or you break a landing gear or something like that.
Which you do get two props.
Which
and
is
then
nice.
let's talk about the landing gear. First of all, these are soft. Go ahead and grab them and squeeze. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. And then painted landing gear door.
Nice.
That's pretty sweet. And they are springy, which I like, because sometimes when they make them too strong, they just don't work well on these little planes. So I'm hoping that these work well. It looks like we're gonna have to slide this back in, and then this thing is gonna clip in just like that.
Secondarily,
Booyah.
kind of.
The only thing I'm just like it's not in all the way. I'm not sure if I'm doing this wrong. Let me pop that out. In fact, I'm gonna go to the second one. I'm gonna actually just pop this off if it'll come off. Okay, so that does come off. This might make this a little easier. And then this is gonna slip in. Oh yeah, way better. Okay, so once that's in, then I am going to snap this in. They kind of colored that backward, I think. The gear door. Okay. And then this snaps from the side. There you go. So there's the first one canted forward. It's actually got a pretty good angle on it. Now this one, it's really fighting me going in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop this out, and then I'm gonna take this back out. I think I just got caught under the foam. There we go. See what I did wrong? You gotta feed that in kind of flat. Once you're in flat to the back, then you can take and slide this back to where they align, and you'll wanna support that wire while you snap it on. So you see this? I'm gonna do it this way. Snap it on. There it goes. Okay. So then you have a nice little angle. They actually look about right. I mean, they're not like perfect scale, but they're pretty dang good given that we're talking about a small plane here. Now also the tail wheel even has soft squishy tires. So FMS, Horizon, if you're watching, definitely need to be adapting that, because if they can do it on this plane, you can do it on every one of your big planes. Okay, so beautiful, definitely a steerable tail wheel, which is pretty sweet. That is gonna be one of the first times we've seen that from Volantex on these size class. We have a prop adapter, and then we have this thing, which I think goes in and becomes part of this assembly. So we are definitely gonna keep this in the bag so it's ready to go. Now also keep in mind the spinner does come off so that you can replace just the prop in the event that you have a prop that gets damaged. You can undo that screw and you can take this assembly apart, the sub-assembly if you will. So there you have it, guys. Pretty awesome. So now one other thing in terms of setup that you'll want to remember is that when you buy these things as ready to flies from China land, you do have to put in your own alkaline batteries or rechargeable batteries, whatever you choose. In our case, we're gonna put in 4 AA, so we're gonna do that and come right back. Okay, so AA's, flat goes to the spring side, flat goes to the spring side, flat goes to the spring side, flat goes to the spring side. Make sure they're all seated, and then this thing pops in just like that. And that's literally all you have to do. Now you've got this thing turns on. The flashing indicates that it's kind of like going through a boot process, all the way up, all the way down. One touch aerobatics, it does the beep. When it stops beeping, that acknowledges that it is accepting your input, okay? And you'll hear beeps as you change between modes. Now, keep in mind, this is a brushless motor, so there's gonna be an arming sequence, and you can hear the Facebook data center over here. That's what happens when you have these non-smart batteries. They basically will just run this cooling fan like crazy as it tries to balance. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. We're gonna go ahead, shut that off. One of the reasons I really like this charger, by the way, is it has a toggle switch. So I can leave it plugged in and I just flip the switch. Love it. Okay, so now we have a charged battery. We have batteries loaded in our transmitter. And generally speaking, with planes, you wanna control the plane, have the throttle stick down, and there's no throttle cut or throttle hold on this. You have to be kind of careful, okay? Because this is where people get cut if you're not careful. Also, look how robust this door is.
Yeah, it's really
very heavy duty. I love it. Now, the only thing I don't love is that JST is kind of buried up there. Wonder if you can get it. Think you can?
Yep,
if not, I can get it with the prop.
Yep.
Okay, sweet. And but I don't know if you guys heard that, but if you can't get it, just pop your prop off and you can use that to reach in there, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. I'm gonna do it in such a way that I can protect myself just in case that prop would start. So you plug it in, okay? Listen for that's the arming sequence. They changed the sound effect.
Sounds different, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time we've heard that new sound effect. Okay, so now once we stuff this in here, we're gonna probably have just the right amount of extra cable. Oh yeah, perfect fit. Nice. And you can hear it. That's the stabilizer running. I'm gonna turn it to expert and you can hear that it's not wiggling anymore, okay? So come over here. When I put it to beginner, it's gonna also try to automatically level the plane. So if you flip it over, it's gonna basically resist and it's gonna try to bring that plane level, okay? So the elevator, pretty sweet. And let's see what the power feels like. Okay, throttle cut, there is no throttle cut. All the way up. Ooh, that looks sweet.
Yeah, that yellow prop is nice.
Quiet, I love the sound. We're so used to like the wonky, you know,
whiny,
just crappy.
yeah.
And look at the tail wheel. So sweet. So can't wait to see this thing fly. Super excited. Now, before we get too far, let's check and see if the CG is listed. I doubt they will. They generally don't on these little planes, but it might be worth noting that, do we see it anywhere?
Nope.
There's the binding instructions in case you guys are getting this as a bind and fly. Here, right there. So you can pause it and read that if you need to. Now ours came bound because we don't have to worry about it. I don't see anything about, there's the 1 key U-turn button.
Yep.
Don't even use that, it's a waste of time. All it does is whatever direction it's flying, it turns around 180 degrees. It's a joke. So if you're disoriented, you might turn it away from you, okay?
And if you're disoriented, you won't know.
X-Pilot system calibration, okay? They say don't unlock the throttle, but what you would do is you would just basically lay it down and then sticks down and out. I don't want to recalibrate it yet because I don't want to find my aircraft. When the aircraft is missing but power on, press and hold the Find My Aircraft button for 3 seconds until there is a beeping sound. I love that arrow. It's like going to a big black nothing.
Yes.
So is it the down arrow? That's crazy.
If you go back 1 page where they had the whole thing, it might show it better.
Nah. Here?
So when you're looking for it, when it's in the tree, it's the same as the 1 key U-turn button.
So
You just have to hold it down
Okay.
for 3 seconds.
Wow, that's actually kind of a cool feature.
I might actually come in handy.
That's actually really nice. Yeah, I could think of, okay, so now I'm gonna hold it down again and see if it cancels. Hey, it did, that's pretty sweet.
Wow.
That's actually a useful feature.
That is.
So also take off the cover in the head to replace the motor, okay. Oh, so there's a cover right there. That pops out if you need to get to the motor. I wonder how hard it is to get it out. Should we just sacrificially do it? Yep, we're gonna do it. Look at that, you guys can see the brushless motor in there. Sweet. So cool. And I'm just gonna plop that back in there and you can see how squishy and kind of spongy the foam is. So this is what people want when they're beginning.
And it's nice that the motor is replaceable.
This also comes off. This also comes off? What? What? Whoa, it does, look. Sweet. So you can get in there and see how they ran the wires around the linkages. That's dumb. But you know what? This is probably, they have really thought of a lot of things that we've run into problems with on these planes.
Yeah.
And that is serviceability, access to the motor, removable prop that's also easy to put on, but not falling off so easy. The older ones, they did fall off pretty easy. Now, I want them to fall off easy, admittedly, because you're not gonna bend your prop shaft as easy. And they've also got more scale details on here. Now, I am fearful that this thing is gonna CG out like really pretty nose heavy, but I could be mistaken. It's really pretty much right about there. That's about where you want it on a P-51. So super excited to see this thing fly. And I gotta say, for being a Volantex 500, it's not an ultra micro. This thing looks like it's gonna be great. Now, is it gonna fly as good as I want it to look? I don't know, but I can definitely say this. I'm expecting toy grade experience even with a brushless motor. So I'm trying to keep my expectations in check. But if you guys found that this aircraft met all your needs or maybe enough of them to justify the cost, then check out the links in the video description below. You can buy one for your very own. You can help support Brian Phillips RC when you do that. We'll make small commissions from the purchase when you buy this or any of the other planes you've ever seen on brianphillipsrc.com. Also, if you don't like this plane, but you'd like to go back to maybe the little bit cheaper versions, we also still have those listed. They're incredibly popular and they're very fun. Our kids love flying them. You know, I like flying hobby grade planes better myself, but they really like flying those, I think partly just because they aren't nervous about it.
Right.
And so that's a big deal. And if you're brand new and you just want something you can crash into a brick wall like 5 or 6 times and have it survive and not have to get a bunch of glue out and spend time to fix it, then this might be for you.
And Just to speak to the durability and with our kids, our boys built an aircraft carrier out of a cardboard box.
Yes.
And we're trying to land these little planes, and they crash those planes.
Hundreds of times.
And
they almost never land.
no,
it's usually
a crash, almost always.
So
the other thing don't ever break them.
The other thing too is if you want to see the other options, we have those all available right now on brianphillipsrc.com. And you can find the video, you can see what we had to say about them, if it was a good experience, bad experience, or otherwise. And then you can also buy from the links there if you would prefer. You can always check the pricing, make a decision. It's not like when you click the link, it just buys it. It just takes you there and then they know that we sent you there. So at the end of the day, Volantex is kind of the mothership on this. They always end up in some other branding, and I'm fine with Volantex. They're the ones, they're the real deal. They're the real McCoy, if you ask me. And so if I'm gonna pick between this and some other offering, I would prefer to pick Volantex because they're kind of where things start. Now, I'm not saying that Volantex isn't making the other ones because I really don't know that. I kind of assume they are, but there's always give and take on electronics, and you don't always know that because they're going to be hidden inside of this body. The bodies are going to look the same. The marketing is going to look the same. The 3D renderings that they use in marketing are going to look the same, but it's not necessarily going to perform the same. And some of those subtle differences add up to unflyable.
Because they aren't making all of the other ones.
They aren't. And we know that one of the competitive offerings that's making them was working with us, and we were not liking them. They were sucking.
Yeah.
So we stopped doing them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So anyway, hopefully we haven't stepped into too big of a rat's nest there. But the truth is, we do work hard to make sure that what we're doing on this channel ends up being either watch out for this or here's the drawbacks. I think with Volantex, we've never really had to do that. Here's the drawbacks, with the exception of maybe the 750. I'm not crazy about the 750, which is ironic because it's like one of our most popular videos we've ever made.
But that's an older model too.
It is.
They're coming out now with the brushless and making some updates.
So very excited to see this in a 500. 500 millimeters is small size, cheap price point, 2S power, good transmitter, you know, reliable size. It's going to be good for an adult hand or a child's hand. So it's just, they've really thought of a lot of things, which is really good. And now accessibility to get to the motor, accessibility to get to the main servos for the elevator and rudder, steerable tail wheel, soft tires. I mean, beautiful gear door. I mean, this thing is actually a really nice looking model, given that it is still technically probably in the toy grade reality if you get right down to it. But I think it's gonna check most people's boxes. So I think at the end of the day, if you guys want a good option, this is probably gonna be it. Now, I haven't flown it yet, but I will be. And that's an inactivity alarm, by the way, or a minute counter.
No, it should be inactivity.
So if you just move the sticks, it'll wake it up. So if you have questions, leave it in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer them. And then also, if you want to buy one of these, like we said, check out the links. They'll be down below for you. There may be additional liveries. I didn't see a second livery on this one.
Just this one.
But I gotta say, this one looks really dang good. Yeah, there's no like pictures down here. So but it's called the Legends Warbird series from Volantex RC. So, and then do we have multiple links for Volantex, or is it just
you can order it usually from X Hobby is the mothership. If you click on that and you're like, who is this? But they're also available on Amazon.
On Amazon. And so we'll have links there as well. And if you follow those links, it does help to support us, even if you decide to buy like diapers for the kid or
a new computer or a TV.
Or 700 backup hard drives, which we had somebody do that once. So it was very nice. Please do that again, whoever you are, whatever IT guy you are. So we appreciate you guys. On Brian Phillips RC, we always like to list off different ways you can support us just because we know people will ask. And the biggest is to watch a video, smash the like button, come back, watch the whole videos once in a while, which I know is an ask because sometimes they're like 10 hours long. Not an exaggeration, regrettably. But we also have PayPal for one-time support, Patreon for monthly support, YouTube super thanks for one-time support, and then YouTube members for monthly support as well. All of which are much appreciated. We still think firmly the best way to support Brian Phillips RC is watch videos, like them, subscribe, click the bell for notifications so you know when new content's coming and watch it. But if you want to support us financially, the best way to do it is to buy planes, helicopters, VTOLs, quads, any of the stuff you've seen us do on this channel or something that we have recommended, maybe through a short or through some comment that you saw, is really helpful to us to keep this endeavor running. And obviously it's been very expensive couple of years with our aerodrome. The pond was way more expensive than we thought it was going to be. Big surprise. Anybody who's done construction understands exactly what I'm saying. And we're actually already hiring civil engineers, structural engineers for the building for the dam gift shop. So it's like literally happening, but we have to overwinter that pad so that we can get the dam runway done next year, hopefully, and the dam gift shop done next year as well. And there's gonna be an apron around it, and then there's gonna be a helipad, an extension to the main runway. The stuff is all gonna be crazy, but you're here watching it live and in charge on Brian Phillips RC. So we help you guys we really appreciate you guys helping us and being part of our crazy real world experience. And there would have been a time when we could say we could do it without you, but like we're kind of past that. We're committed now. So if you guys stop supporting us, then we may end up need to save some of these boxes so we have somewhere to live. Right. If it wasn't true, it wouldn't be funny. So guys, at the end of the day, Volantex makes a good plane, so we're hoping you guys will like this. And if this thing sucked the big one and you see it when we fly it, then don't buy it. Buy something different. And we will have millions of other amazing choices right here on Brian Phillips RC. So stay tuned and come back for more.